In the most haunted city in America, New Orleans, lies a mansion with an equally as haunted past. After moving into their house, Gabby and her son Travis begin to be terrorized by some unwanted guests. In an attempt to expel the specters, the mother and son call upon the help of astrophysicists, priests, mediums, and professors to hopefully solve the mystery of the mansion and put these ghosts at rest. This is Haunted Mansion. Haunted Mansion is the latest film in the subgenre of theme park attraction movies. A subgenre I can only credit to Disney for making. But this is the first instance of them remaking a theme park attraction movie. And to be honest, I'm glad they picked Haunted Mansion because the 2003 Eddie Murphy film, it scared the crap out of me as a kid, but it's not very good. But to be fair, I was the same kid that was scared of VeggieTales. And no, I'm not going into detail as to why today. So how does Disney's second attempt at Haunted Mansion fare? Pretty well, actually. It's a fun, spooky adventure with surprisingly strong story and characters. The cast is all great and the characters they play are all really unique, but I think what I loved the most about this film is simply the vibe it has. Now, this has a really strong cast for a comedy horror film. From Lakeith Stanfield and Rosario Dawson to Owen Wilson and Tiffany Haddish, they all play great characters within the film. I really found their characters to be extremely unique between one another. They all brought something different to the table, and I really enjoyed that. And don't you think for a second I'm going to forget to talk about Danny DeVito. My admiration for him simply comes from the fact that he's such a good and funny actor, and just seeing him in a movie like this just makes my day. Everything I said about the rest of the cast and characters, his character falls under too. This is a stacked cast, and everyone's great. Although it features Jared Leto. No, don't go. I'll make it a little better. Luckily, the character Jared Leto plays is a completely CGI character, and it hardly sounds like him either. And I feel the film does a good enough job at making you see this villainous ghost character instead of the human ghoul himself. Now, I haven't seen the original Haunted Mansion in a long time, but I remember two things. One, it wasn't very good, and two, it would definitely scare a small child. And a small child I was when it came out. And luckily, this film still doesn't stray too far away from a good sense of horror. Now, obviously, this being a Disney family-friendly film, you're not gonna get into any hardcore horror. Don't go expecting anything like The Conjuring in this film. But the horror the film does have is more than in line with what I believe is perfect for Haunted Mansion. It's spooky and would definitely scare a small child, but doesn't lack a fun, campy tone, and I just think that's perfect for Haunted Mansion. I will admit, though, I was a bit disappointed to find out this was PG-13. Nothing in the movie feels as hardcore as I've seen some PG-13 horror movies do. Had they gone into the PG-13 rating and pushed it as much as they could, I would have definitely been a bit more surprised, but they didn't. But again, that doesn't really bug me. Again, look at the IP we're dealing with here. But had this film simply been PG, I think this would have been a great film to have alongside some other recent spooky family films, like Goosebumps or A House with a Clock in Its Walls. Remember that? That was a good movie. I liked that movie. Funnily enough, both of these star Jack Black, so I guess maybe they should have had Jack Black in this movie too. When it comes to the scares of the movie, it would be much more impressive if it was PG, but what we got is just a rather watered down PG-13. There are definitely some good qualities to the scares in the film, but I wish they could have done more, but I get why they didn't. But the film still has a lot going for it in regards to its story. The themes of grief are surprisingly prevalent in this film, and I think that really adds a lot to the film. It surprised me just how emotional the film got and how well it handled it. The themes of grief may have surprised me, but it didn't surprise me as much as Metallica playing in Jungle Cruise. Why was that there? But I think the coolest part of the movie to me was the setting and the overall vibe of the film. The New Orleans setting, coupled with the great set design that brings the Disney World ride to life, is gold to me. Everything about this movie screams perfect fall movie. But for some reason, Disney decided to release this in July. Why would they do that? But to be fair, there are actually a lot of beloved Halloween classics that also released during the summer. So maybe this film will grow a cult following and share the same fate as Hocus Pocus. And by that, I mean air every single day on ABC Family in October. Maybe I don't want that, never mind. As for any other nitpicks I have that aren't related to the film's scare level, I kinda wish it wasn't set in the modern day. At first, the modern day setting didn't bug me a bit. But then, there is an abundance of product placement in this movie. And I know, that's funny, because when you think about it, this whole film in general is product placement for Disney World, but the product placement within the film is no more subtle than the product placement within Wayne's World. This film had no shame with the product placement. And I can kind of respect that, but I can also still be very annoyed by it. But aside from that nitpick, I still had a lot of fun with this film. The cast is all great, the vibe of the film is so good, and overall, it's just a fun, spooky adventure that the whole family can enjoy. And I highly recommend you check this one out. And judging by the box office, you might be able to check it out on streaming a lot sooner than you'd expect. As much as I hate to say that. I hope you all enjoyed this review, and if you did, please consider hitting that like button, and if you want to see more, hit that subscribe button and ring that bell to be notified when my next review drops. Oh, and by the way, check out the website. Until next time, I'm Quint Dunaway, hoping you will keep it cinematic. Woo!